Hey everybody, what is going on? So are you in your 50s and wondering, should I start a YouTube channel? And if I do, what should the topic be? What should the niche be, right? Well, follow along, jump in. We're going to go in and explore ideas and ways of identifying your niche or your topic for your YouTube channel. And Dana and I are in our 50s. We've done a few things here with our YouTube channel. We've learned a thing or two. So let's go check this out and see what we can do to come up for a niche for your YouTube channel when you're in your 50s. So very first thing to kind of keep in mind, and that is don't stress about this too much. Yes, take some time to figure out what your niche is going to be, but don't let analysis paralysis set in. All right. Last thing you want to do is get so caught up on, I'm not really sure what it should be, so I'm not going to start at all. You can always change your niche. All right. You can always start a new YouTube channel if you wanted to. But yeah, don't stress over this too much. So that's the number one thing. Actually, we probably have a lot of number one things, but let's just have some fun with this. So next thing you want to do, I think the most important thing, a little caveat here before you jump in also, and that is just because you've done all your research and just because all the numbers look right for a specific niche doesn't mean you're going to get guaranteed success overnight. All right. Most of the time, it's going to be a long game. I think that those people who are able to start a channel and have it just take off within 3, 4, 5 months are just somehow blessed by the YouTube gods. Because I think that the norm is going to be more like a year to 2 years before you really start seeing any success. It takes a lot of time. All right. And so that caveat being said, and that out of the way, make sure whatever you're going to do your YouTube channel on, make sure you're passionate about it. Passion's important because, again, like I just said, it could be a long game. And so this needs to be something that you can talk about as often as you can for as long as you can, and you don't get bored of it because you're passionate about it. You'd love to talk about it. When you love to talk about something and you can see yourself down the road still talking about it 4, 5, 6 years down the road, that's a good indication that, hey, this could be a good niche for me. Okay. Next thing that you want to kind of stop and look at, and that is, are you proficient? Are you good at it? Do you know a thing or two? Chances are if you're passionate about it, you're going to know a thing or two. So those are kind of two things that are really, really important. And those two things will oftentimes overlap. All right. And so you're going to find things that you're really, really passionate about. And you're going to find things that you're really, really proficient at. And when you find ones that kind of mesh, you can make a list of those topics that, hey, I'm proficient at it and I'm passionate about it. Next, and again, don't get too worried about all this, but another test is now to take that list of things that kind of overlap and see, are they going to be profitable? Are there people that are really, really passionate about this as well who are willing to pay for it? An example of this would be golfers. Golfers are just always buying new clubs and new gadgets. And, I knew a gentleman who was really, really into golf, and he was always buying golf clubs. I mean, like every 4 months he was getting another set of golf clubs. I mean, this guy was nuts. But that's the kind of passion or hobby, if you will, that you really want to kind of look at also. It could also be a professional field that a lot of people will pay money to get their continued licenses in. Maybe it's an MD that has to consistently get licensing in, or I'm thinking of counseling. A lot of times counselors are having to get certificates on a regular basis. So those are some things to kind of keep in mind and ask yourself while you're figuring this stuff out. So here's what I would do. Go in here and start asking yourself some questions. What am I passionate about? Are you passionate about pets? Are you passionate about, raising kids? Are you passionate about working out? Okay. Ask yourself some questions like that. Some other things to kind of think about. And that is, what have you done for a living? What kind of careers? If you're like me, I've had multiple careers. What kind of career focuses have you had? And are there some things that I could share to the YouTube world, to the world in general, through YouTube, that could help others based on what I've done for a living? And you can ask yourself that. So what have I done for a living? Have you been a counselor? Have you been a doctor, a nurse? Have you been a teacher? Okay. Lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle do you have? And again, a lot of this stuff's going to kind of overlap as well. Are you into running? And that's just really something you do a lot of. Niches. When you think about a niche, it's kind of an overall thing, right? Running is kind of a broad niche. Then the key is also think about niching down. And so when I said running, one of the things that came to mind is a little niche called slow running. I believe it's called. It's almost like a walk, but you're actually running, and it's a very, very, it's called a slow run. And so it's low impact. You can go a really long distance. And so you can get your exercise, you get your heartbeat up and everything. And slow running is a whole niche, okay, that you could go and explore if that's something that you're into, right? Again, what are you good at? Do you play musical instruments? Have you played a musical instrument? I knew people that played the piano from the time they were like 4 or 5 years old. And maybe they could teach people how to play the piano. Woodworking, people who are just really, really into woodworking and build projects around the house. Maybe that's something that that you could dive into and do a YouTube channel around, right? Another thing to kind of keep in mind is what kind of problems can you solve, right? So maybe there's people out there who are trying to come up with lesson plans. Okay, teachers, we ask about that profit thing. Teachers are willing to pay for good lesson plans. All right. I've got a couple of teachers in my family, and both of them said, yeah, we're willing to pay, money for lesson plans, good, well thought out lesson plans. They're completely, on a regular basis, they'll go out and buy lesson plans. So think about that type of stuff too. You're solving a problem. You have teachers out there who need to come up with lessons. They're looking for lesson plans. You can solve that problem. Okay. So, really kind of think about that. As I think about all this ideas of coming up with a niche, just keep asking yourself some of these key questions. What would you do if someone was said, no, I'm not going to pay you for this? Would you still do it? All right. So find something you would do even if you don't get paid. That's another niche is going to be something that's going to have some longevity. All right. Or another way of looking at this is evergreen. Evergreen is something that's not a trend. And that's another thing to kind of keep in mind. Is this just a trend? I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that's just going to be a trend. I'm going to do a YouTube channel on spinners. For a little while, the spinners were really, really, really popular. Those fidget spinners that spin around that kids play with. You could start a channel around fidget spinners. But the thing is, they were a trend and they went out of style relatively quickly. Kind of like Beanie Babies were really, really hot for just a couple of years, and now they're not so hot, right? So pick something. Is this evergreen? All right. Is this, again, something that I could do even if no one pays me at all? Is this something that I love to talk about? I could talk about it for hours. All right. That's another kind of hint that, hey, this could be something that could probably have some legs on YouTube, right? So those are some ideas you can use for picking your niche. Again, there's a lot of other tools out there. You can use it. Google Trends. Some people go and they look for books on Amazon for your particular niche that you're kind of researching to find out, hey, are people writing books about this? Another idea is to go and open those books and look at the chapters and, look at the table of contents and look at the chapters and find out, hey, what are they talking about? It gives you ideas for your YouTube channel. Another idea is going into Reddit and seeing, hey, are there any Reddits about, that are focused on this niche? Going into Facebook and just doing a quick search for groups and just see, are there groups for this niche? And those are all kind of ways of still going in to just see what the interest, kind of trying to get a measure of the interest for this niche, right? For the niche that you're looking at. And if you can do that, great. But again, I want to really, really, really bring it home that just because you've done all of this work doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have overnight success. You're not going to just start a YouTube channel. Could be. Every now and then the YouTube gods are just going to be like, hey, we're going to bless this guy with success, and you might see success in 3 or 4 or 5 months. But if not, again, that passion is going to come into play. And that's where you got to make sure that you're passionate about it and you can be consistent about it. And you can do 1 or 2 or 3 videos a week for the next 2 or 3 or 4 years before you might see any kind of real success. All right. So those are some ideas as far as picking a niche when you're over 50 and wanting to start a YouTube channel and you're just not sure, what do I do? There you go. All right. So if you're liking these videos, we have a whole playlist on starting a YouTube channel in your 50s. Go check it out. Thanks for watching.